so the rebels were well dressed then. And the specific battalion was called like Bright Star Campaign. So they had like hats though with a flag on the back and stuff. And it's like, oh yeah. So my aunt and everybody in Africa, most women, you know, they cook and they do most of that stuff, you know, go fetch water. So my aunt, you know, and her sister went to go fetch water, and when they came back, they were like, those were not, those were not the government soldiers. Those were, you know, the rebels. Yeah. They took their watches, they took everything, you know. And we are leaving the hometown to actually go live with the rebels because they're in favor of what people, you know, in South Sudan, you know, want to fight for, you know, basically equality, you know, because there's a lot of Christians, you know, there's a lot of discrimination against people because they're Christians. Originally, the country, you know, is, you know, for the darker people. You know, Sudan is, I think, you know, means the land of the black, you know what I mean? So the reason we're leaving is because the rebels said on the radio that, you know, in 3 days they're taking over the town. Because every town that they have taken over before my town, they tell the people they had an SPLA rebel. If you're not in the military, get out of the town. We're attacking this town. I mean, they are telling people on their radio, you know. And the word is 3 days they're taking over Yei, which is my hometown. People have to leave, so you have to pack whatever you have to. Some people bury their belongings, you know, in plastic, you know, and stuff like that. So we had to leave. Otherwise, you get caught in the, you know, people think like, oh, there's human rights, oh, human rights this. That don't work in all parts of the world, you know. I don't care who says what, you know. Unless you see firsthand, then, you know, you'll be convinced that I'm, you know, telling you that it doesn't work. After my aunt and, you know, her sister got robbed, we didn't want to follow the main road because a lot of the cars are traveling through the main road. Everybody's walking through the main road. There's so many roadblocks. As you're going, whatever little thing you have is getting taken away from you, you know. You have no word, you know. Rebels don't get paid. So they pay themselves by, you know, taking your stuff. So I don't blame them, you know. They have families that fight and that they need to feed, you know. That's what they have to do. It's kind of like survival of the fittest, you know. I'm the man with the gun, you know, and you're the one without the gun. And if somebody has to live, it has to be me because I'm the one with the gun and you're not going to do anything, you know. I thought everything was cool, you know. I started liking guns and stuff, you know. And when we left the village, we went towards Kaya, you know. We went there. As we were walking, you know, some of the rebels, you know, now we're in the rebel territory, so they know that everybody's all of a sudden cool. So they saw us, you know. The commander's name, I don't remember his name specifically. I don't know if he was the commander, but he was in one of those jeeps, you know. And he had given me a knife that was this long. The guy was trying to take me away from my family because I was a little smart kid, you know. And he's like, man, I like this kid. So, you know, next thing I know, like, they gave me an AK-47. They gave my brother an AK-47. My sister and then my other cousin, I don't even know where she's at right now. She kind of ran off wild in Africa. But they gave us those when we pulled up to Kaya because they gave us a lift. But before they even give us a lift, we had to stop in this place called Marble, and we basically on the side of the road, you know, had to go get some branches, you know, set up like 3 stones and put a pan on it and cook, you know, cook some food and stuff like that. And we ate and they sat there with us and he's like, yeah, I gotta go to the next town, I gotta go handle some stuff over here. He got his little soldiers with him and he wanted me to go with him, you know. Because we rode around, I was sitting in the front seat of the Jeep. Like, they call it Jay Shamed, means like red soldier, you know. A lot of the child soldiers, you know, the SPLA movement, they call them Jay Shamed. So, you know, he had a pistol too. I think it was like a 9mm, you know. That wasn't his main gun, but it's something, you know, to carry and teaching me how to shoot it and stuff like that. And then he wanted me to go with him, and my family wouldn't let because they know a lot of kids disappear like that. That's how it starts, you know. They take you, and then you're not coming back. Next thing you know, he's a soldier, child soldier, you know. And it happened. And just because my family didn't let that, and he didn't want to disrespect them like that, he could have just said, you know, you guys shut up, I'm taking him, you know. But we got over there, all my friends, you know, from the neighborhood, they were like, oh man, Asiki's a Jay Samet, Asiki's a Jay Samet. and Asiki's a red soldier, you know.
Yeah.
It's a red soldier, oh man, you know, because they see that. And then as a kid, man, that was cool, you know. A lot of my friends, you know, a lot of those kids, you know, I don't think that a lot of them understood that, you know, what death was, you know. People don't really care, you know. It's the cool thing to do because once you have that gun in your hand, you got all that power. Nobody's gonna say anything. And if you're a red soldier, and if you decide you're gonna rob somebody, if it's a grown man, you probably are not gonna go to jail. It's wild, you know. It's the rebel movement. I got my first AK-47. You know, I didn't want to tell my family. And that's part of what this. They used to have it's like a patrol. They go knock on every door.
Yeah.
Every man in the house, they're checking you. Are you a soldier or not? You got to go to war.
Mm-hmm.
They look at the kids. You know, we call it kasha. You at a good age that's supposed to be, you know, in the field going to fight. Oh, they're taking you away from your family.
Yeah.
You know. If you're young like me, if I said that, and I was young, I said I want to go to war, my parents can't stop me. They'll be like, oh yeah, he just said, you know, you want to go to war, you want to go fight. You know? It was just that bad, and they would knock on every door, and if they found anything that was military related, rebel related, a gun, a bullet, where is the rebel that lives here? They would beat the information out of everybody in the house. Where did he go? We need him fighting in the field too. Yeah. So every man got to go to war. That's what kind of started our journey. So from our home village, we knew that we needed to get out of the country. Getting out of the country is so hard because child soldiers, men are dying, women are at home. Taking kids out of the country, taking future soldiers out of the country. So if you're crossing the border, they're gonna ask you, where you taking these kids, you know? These are the future soldiers. These are the kids, you know? So like what I used to, because I used to write, you know, what I used to say is like, your dad kind of died holding a gun. And now you're a man, you know? You're gonna hold the same gun that your dad died holding, and you're gonna go fight.
We're back in the studio with Nick. Nick, that last segment was really, really intense.
Yeah.
What did Asiki mean though at the end about receiving his father's gun?
Oh, it's about a generation of war. You know, I'm fighting with the same gun that my father had.
Oh,
wow. This conflict's been going on for a while. This is nothing new. To the point where, you know, these weapons are being recycled is what he's saying.
This whole area is just kind of embroiled in this whole conflict.
Yeah.
Like that. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's absolutely. What I wanted to stay away from, though, was a commentary on war so much. That takes a lot more to be able to tell the full story of what's going on in Sudan. Obviously something I'd love to tackle, but you know, when they pay me.
When they pay you, sure.
What I really wanted to show here was just the difference in what you can experience.
Yeah.
You know, how often I see myself getting down, or I see the people around me getting down over what seems like simple things, you know. A grocery cart hit my car. Yeah. I wasn't feeling I had a headache when I woke up, versus my friend who woke up in the middle of a field having to run from rebels, or having to meet up with his commander at the age of 6 and almost being taken away from his family.
I can't even imagine that experience, especially at 6 years old. I think I was struggling to write straight still.
Yeah. And if you ask Asiki now, he'll always give you the same answer for how he's doing.
Yeah.
Just fine. Just fine.
You know, given the way that he grew up, I imagine that, you know, the relative peace that we live in is very comfortable for him.
It's the same thing I heard from an Israeli refugee at one point, which was, you know, I wake up in the morning and I don't hear gunfire, and it's a good day, you know?
Wow, that's just it's so different, and I don't even know what to say.
Just keep it with you, man. Keep it with you, you know? Cat scratches you, you got a late bill. Well, I didn't hear gunfire when I woke up this morning.
Thanks for tuning in. That's all for now. Good night.